Hi ho, hi ho, it's off to the job centre I go.
Hi guys, it is Monday the 13th of April, it is VEDA day 12, and what can I tell you about today? This morning I went to the job centre and I have signed on. Now this means that while I'm looking for work I get a small amount of money from the local council that will help me to buy food, pay my rent. It comes to generally about £50 a week, and I should know in the next 7 to 10 days whether or not I have been approved for that, and that is called a job seeker's allowance. So it's almost like a wage you get while you're looking for work. Now, it used to be a little while ago that there were a lot of people who claimed JSA without actually looking for work. These days, you have to prove that you're doing it. So, there is a website called Universal Job Match that job seekers have to, well, not have to, but are strongly encouraged to become members of. And it's one of those websites that sort of brings a whole bunch of jobs together in one place, so you can look at them and apply for them. And you have a little booklet where you write down the jobs that you are applying for, and basically what it is that you're doing to actively find work. And if the people at the job centre decide that you're not doing enough, then they can cut the funding completely. So, you know, that there's no way that you can be lazy about it and still just get money. It's not like getting free money from the government. You do hear stories where people have managed to sort of get around the system, and they've claimed like thousands of pounds of job seekers allowance, and in fact they've been working the whole time as a lorry driver or whatever. But in the real world, that doesn't happen. You have to actively search for jobs. Job hunting has to become your new job in order to get this money. So that was my early morning, was going to the job centre and signing on. Then I came home and I enjoyed tea and Polish cake as my sort of 11 o'clock snack, and applied for some jobs. And in the afternoon I've been doing a bit of DIY crafting. Now, as you know, I have an Etsy shop, and I've been looking into new products that I can make and sell. And the products that I have made are little glass charms made from little bottles with things in that represent a book or a film or something special to me. So I have got a bunch of pictures, and I will do a little bit of narration to tell you what each of those is supposed to be. And if you do want them, or one of them, they will be on my Etsy page pretty soon, probably tomorrow. So if any of them take your fancy, do check out the Etsy shop, and they can be yours to own. So here we go.
Message in a Bottle features a sandy cork base and a teeny tiny scroll, along with a special sparkly secret. Inspired by the fairy tale, Snow White is a double-sided bottle, featuring a mirror charm and a dangling apple charm. Tale as Old as Time is inspired by the Disney film Beauty and the Beast. The Beast has an enchanted rose, which blooms and then wilts, counting down the time the beast has left to love another and be loved by her in return before he is doomed to remain a monster for all time. Moon on a String is a charming piece featuring a dangling moon above a cluster of glass stars. The Phantom's Rose is inspired by the 2004 movie adaptation of The Phantom of the Opera. When the Phantom is pleased with his protégée, Christine Daae, he leaves her a red rose tied with a black ribbon, which I've tried to replicate in this bottle. Painting the Roses Red is my favourite piece, inspired by the chapter in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, where Alice encounters the Queen of Hearts gardeners trying to paint the white roses red, so that the Queen doesn't realise the wrong ones have been planted. In reference to this, only half the rose is red, the other half white, with splashes of red paint where the gardeners have been trying to complete their task.
I've also gone through a couple of audiobooks in the last couple of days. The first one I listened to was Remember Me by Sophie Kinsella. So Sophie Kinsella is a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine. It's chick lit, and I find it light and fun, and I don't have to think about it much, and it's just something pleasant and enjoyable. It's probably not something that I would usually admit to reading. It's a sort of book that you take on holiday to read, but I do really enjoy her work. So Remember Me. And then I listened to Birthdays for the Dead by Stuart McBride. Now, this is a crime novel, and I quite enjoy crime as a genre. I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan. I like those, and I enjoy Miss Marple and Poirot, that sort of thing. I guess you could say that my heart lies in cosy crime. I've been changing it up a little bit recently since I started the books by J.D. Robb, which are crime novels with that element of science fiction in. It's a little more hard-boiled. But Birthdays for the Dead it's completely, I've never read anything quite like it. It's very dark indeed. The premise is about a police officer called Ash Henderson, Scottish police officer in Oldcastle, and his hunt and the department's hunt for a man known as the Birthday Boy. Now, the Birthday Boy abducts girls just before their 13th birthday, and he tortures them to death, basically, it's nasty stuff. But what makes it even worse is that every year on their birthday he sends the parents a homemade birthday card with a picture of the girl and the state of torture. So year one they get a picture of their daughter and she's tied to a chair. Year two they get another card with this picture and she's covered in bruises. Year three he's bashed her about a bit more. Year four he shaved her head, and she might be dead by card 5, and it's really nasty stuff. And what no one knows is that Ash Henderson has received these cards himself. Everyone thinks that his daughter Rebecca ran away just before she turned 13, and in fact she is a victim of the Birthday Boy. He has chosen not to reveal this information to his colleagues in the police force. He doesn't want anyone to know because the force have been hunting this serial killer for 8 years, and he knows that if he tells them, he will be pulled off the case and he won't be able to continue. And as soon as he got that first birthday card, he knew that his daughter was dead, and he got just even more fixed on finding the person responsible for murdering all these girls. Birthdays for the Dead is It's the first book that I've read or listened to by Stuart McBride. As I said, it's very dark. I don't know if I want to read any more of his books. I guess with the cozy crime, the Sherlock Holmes and so on, everything's at a distance. It's sort of in that sort of fantasy world. Again with J.D. Robb, it's science fiction, it's set in the future. Birthdays for the Dead, I think, cuts a little close to home. It's a bit too real, it gets too close to the sort of torture porn genre of movies that I find especially upsetting. And to be honest, Birthdays for the Dead I didn't really enjoy. There's a character called Alex MacDonald who I found really likeable. I really enjoyed her character. But the rest of it, I don't know, it's grisly stuff. Yeah. And there's subplots that go on, the things that happen to the main character. And some of it just made me go, really? Seriously? This is where you're taking the story? So no, I don't think I will be reading anything else by Stuart McBride, although I might. Depends. If I'm in the mood for it, I may well pick up another one. There's another Ash Henderson book out, and he's got another series to his name. But I definitely have to think twice. It's not like with some series where I can read one book by that author and go straight on to the next one. So when I finished Birthdays for the Dead, I went into a couple of the Sherlock Holmes stories. It's a series of dramatisations by the BBC, mostly adapted by Bert Coules. Clive Merrison plays Sherlock Holmes and Michael Williams is Dr. Watson. And they're really good. It's really good adaptations of the Sherlock Holmes stories, and I really enjoy them. So while I may not recommend Stuart McBride, I would definitely recommend those BBC adaptations of the Sherlock Holmes series. I only listened to 3 of those, and then the next thing that popped up on my iPod was Witches Abroad by Terry Pratchett. Now, I am a huge Pratchett fan. I absolutely love his work. The Discworld is genius. And when he died very recently, it really touched me. I don't tend to get upset when celebrities die, but when Terry Pratchett died, it really felt like a loss. Readers, writers all over the world, I think, will really feel the loss of Terry Pratchett. He was an amazing writer. I was lucky enough to meet him twice, and he was very kind in person, and his works are just amazingly good, and I think he deserves all the credit that we can give him. And that's all from me for tonight. I will see you tomorrow. Cheerio.